Well, hello lovely humans, and welcome back to my channel. I'm going to apologize in advance for the very unusual lighting. I'm recording at a different time during the day, not my normal time, and it's very gray and very rainy out, which is super rare for Southern California, but it's just going to be a lot brighter than we're used to. And let's just pretend that like my highlight is on point, okay? And I'm not actually this pale. If you have not already gotten your tickets for the mixer that we're hosting at the end of this month on the 29th, be sure to grab those down below. There's also a code there if y'all want to score some free tickets. If you're a couple and you are looking to come hang out, please do so. Please snag those down below. In this week's video, we are going to be talking about how to have an eco-friendly wedding. Now, before we launch into this list of ideas that I have, I would love to say that by no means do you need to follow every single thing that I'm suggesting. I've simply come up with a list of things that I've either seen couples do or heard great things about that could potentially benefit you guys and our planet when it comes to your wedding day. If you choose just one item from this list, you could be reducing the amount of waste that your event could potentially create. And I am by no means coming at you from a high horse. My family is in the process of moving towards more sustainable products. In fact, I just did a video last week on my personal channel of some of the sustainable products that we're using in our home and that we absolutely love. And I started using them because they were cheaper, because that meant I didn't need to keep buying things. So if you guys are interested, I'll be sure to link that down below so you can kind of see what we're doing in our everyday lives. But like I said in that video, I am by no means great at this, but we're just taking little itty bitty steps wherever we can to make sure that we're just creating less trash. So without further ado, let's just jump right on into it. Now, the whole inspiration behind this video actually was one of my couples, Megan and Tim, who are the ones that live in Washington State, and they got married at Saltwater Farms. If you guys saw that behind the scenes, they approached me and said, we want to make sure that we're creating as little waste as possible with our event. And I went, oh my gosh, you're the first people to say this. I hadn't even considered that before. For the sake of just like organization for this video, we're gonna use the old adage of reduce, reuse, and recycle. You know, a little catchy limerick type thing that we were taught in elementary school. Yeah, we're gonna follow those guidelines for this video. The first area would be to reduce. Before you go out and purchase anything, and I do mean anything for your wedding, make sure that you have a plan. And this is something that I personally did not do. I ended up purchasing, and I talked about these in videos before, these like lace doily type situations, these vintage table squares, which I no longer have, because I've been asked that before too, that ended up not working with my vibe at all whatsoever. So I got so excited to like design and do things for my event that I just kind of went out and started buying things, and then realized later on that I purchased things that I couldn't even really use that would work with my aesthetic or my vibe or my space. So before you start purchasing, make sure you have a plan going into it, which will inevitably reduce the amount of things that you're buying. Also, saves you some money. See where I'm at with this one? Another great way that you can reduce is to make sure that you are properly calculating the amount of food and alcohol for your guests. This one's a little bit more food focused because obviously you can take the alcohol with you and enjoy it for a few months after your event should you so choose to. But when it comes to catering for your event, make sure that you have a plan in place for leftovers. So this would be a great question for your catering staff. If we bring in, you know, like tins or bins or some sort of vessel for you to put the extra food in, are you okay if we take that home with us afterwards? That way it's not getting just tossed into the trash because it's delicious food, and let's be honest, you've paid a decent amount of money for it. So it's understandable that if there happen to be some leftovers that you might want to take those home with you. Another way that you can reduce is to cut down on drive time. And there are two ways that you can do this. One, do your best to source items locally. That means you're not getting as many things shipped to you. They're not being flown from across the country. Bonus with that is that does mean that you can shop locally and you can shop small businesses, which will really help the town or city within which you live, and just kind of helps to boost the economy there. I'm not saying that your wedding is going to be the one thing that like boosts the economy, but hey, you're shopping locally, and hey, maybe you can even try shopping small as well. Another area you want to kind of reduce drive time is transportation for your guests. A great way to have a more eco-friendly wedding and a more convenient wedding, in my opinion, is to try to have all of your events at the same location. So when everyone's driving, they're coming to one place. Now, of course, there are couples who choose to get married in a specific church based on their religion and or faith, and it's important for them to get married there. But if you do have the choice to have everything at one location, not only does it make for a way easier event, but also cuts down on the amount of drive time when your guests are going from point A to B to point C. It's just, they're just coming to one easy location. The next thing that would be a great idea to reduce would be one-use items, and this can apply to a whole multitude of things. I know with Megan and Tim, one thing that we were pretty specific about is that we wanted to get rentals for plates, cutlery, and glassware. So that way we weren't going through a bunch of plastic cups, but instead wine was being poured into wine glasses. Everyone ate dinner off of a ceramic plate instead of a disposable one. Another one-use item that I would suggest potentially nixing would be paper goods at your event. And that could be stuff like programs and menu cards. Should you want to have a program present and or a menu card, I would suggest opting for a large sign that could potentially be reused by somebody later, instead of those one-use paper items that do look beautiful on your table. I am not knocking them. When menu cards are on tabletops, it looks gorgeous, but it does cost you extra money and it does create extra trash. If you do not want to rent cups and plates and utensils for your wedding day, there are plenty of wonderful biodegradable options out there that could be a great alternative to plastic flatware and dishware. I do know that bamboo plates are gorgeous and they are quite sturdy, so if you're having a heavier meal, they will still get the job done and they add wonderful texture to your tabletop. You can also find things like bamboo utensils. I think our family has like avocado pit utensils, which is super cool. I haven't seen a whole lot of those. Next section would be reuse. I am a huge fan of this section. While the reduce section saves you quite a bit of money if you cut out some of those things on that list, the reuse section is like, it's my jam. I love used stuff. For those of you who watch my second channel, you know that I go thrifting all the time, and you know that I love antiquing and reusing things and finding a new life for old and or dearly loved objects. One thing that you can reuse would be flowers. If you are choosing to have flowers on any sort of arch or arborway, ask your florist and or your coordinator if you can then reuse those on your sweetheart table or your head table. And that way you get to use those same gorgeous flowers at 2 different locations. Also, ask your florist if there's any other florals that could potentially be repurposed. Bridesmaid bouquets can make for beautiful centerpieces if you want to plunk those in a vase on a tabletop. They do tend to be a little bit taller though and don't quite work for like normal centerpieces, or might be a little mismatched, so you can use those as various decor throughout the rest of your reception space. The next way that you can reuse is to buy second hand. Whether that's thrifting, and I do have a whole video on how to thrift for your wedding day, whether that's from websites that resell items, or if it's from a local community Facebook group, I highly encourage you to buy used votives instead of brand new ones, because 1, they're going to be cheaper, and 2, they're just out there existing, waiting for you to buy them. So you don't have to spend as much, and you don't have to create waste by ordering them, having them shipped, packaging, blah, blah, blah. There are so many wonderful Facebook groups out there. There are no-buy groups, there are wedding groups. I know I'm in one in Southern California called Something Borrowed, Something New. And ladies are on there all the time selling their decor. And I think it is absolutely brilliant because it saves you money and it saves the planet just a little bit more. Now, when we're talking secondhand though, it doesn't just mean decor items. It can also mean apparel. Buying a secondhand dress is not for everybody. I know that. I did buy a secondhand dress and I only spent $300 on it. You guys, it was such a cost saver and I'm really glad I did it. I didn't do it necessarily because it was more eco-friendly. I did it because it was more wallet friendly, but it happened to be eco-friendly as well. Another way that you can reuse items is to borrow them. If you have a family member or a friend who potentially has candles for you already, or has easels that you can borrow to use for your signage on your wedding day, not only is that going to be way cheaper than renting it from a company, but it's also going to mean that you are not going out and buying anything new and creating more product. Another great way to reuse items is to steal stuff from your own home. Our sweetheart table for our wedding day is our kitchen table, which is really cool. I don't think about it that often, but when I do remember it, I'm like, oh, we ate our first meal as a married couple at this table, and it's gonna be in our home forever. It's so cute. And if you don't have items in your home that you can use for your event, be sure that whatever you're buying for your event, you can then reuse in your home. I've talked about this in videos before, but our aisle runner for our wedding day is actually like an indoor Persian style rug that's like, I don't know, 18 feet long. And that was on our aisle on our wedding day, and it's now downstairs in our home, which is so stinking fun, and it will have way more sentimental value than had I just purchased a rug kind of at random. So even if you don't already have items from your home that you could steal, try to make sure that what you're purchasing you can then reincorporate into your home. And it's a great way to buy home decor that will be always sentimental. Another thing that you can reuse would be dried floral confetti. I've seen quite a few things because I'm in houseplant groups and because I'm a nerd, in case you couldn't tell. Oh, I just realized one of the lamps has been out of frame the whole time. Okay, I'm gonna fix that. Dang it. I love these lamps, which, by the way, I made these. I'll link the tutorial down below. But in these plant groups, people will oftentimes share when someone has taken a shaped hole punch and punched shapes out of leaves. And that is a great alternative to confetti. I don't think anywhere allows rice anymore. I know a bunch of places do not allow sparklers. But if you're using dried leaves and or dried florals to toss after your ceremony or at the end of your reception, it is a great way to reuse something that's just gonna die anyways. That's a horrible way of putting that. But you get what I mean. Once your event is over, that doesn't mean that the eco-friendly, sustainable reuse ideas stop there. No, no, no. You can donate your flowers afterwards, which is just such a sweet sentiment. Look up in your area to see if there are any programs that will come source your florals for you and then either take them to senior living homes or other locations where people can enjoy your florals for days and days on end. And all of that decor that you purchased beforehand, make sure to resell that to another couple so they can also enjoy it on their wedding day the same way that you did. And then the last category is to recycle. And this one is real simple. Just have some recycling bins available on your wedding day. So if you choose to serve beer, either in bottles or in cans, you have a vessel for everyone to toss all of that trash into, and then they can be recycled afterwards. I guarantee you that I'm missing so many ideas from this list. I know I am. So if you guys have any ideas on how to make a wedding day a little bit more sustainable and a little bit more eco-friendly, be sure to drop those in the comments down below. Remember that you do not need to follow every single thing on this list, but if each and every one of us chose at least one or maybe two items on this list that you can check off, we can create a change for a more sustainable wedding culture. So that's all we have for today, folks. Thank you so much for stopping by. Again, if you want to see some of these sustainable changes that we are making in our home, definitely go and check out that video because I'm not great at this, but I'm trying. If you haven't done so already, like this video and subscribe to this channel for more tips and tricks for the modern day bride. And until next week, bye guys!